light on these problems. Okay, recording is started again. Good. So data must be collected to throw light on these problems. Statistics is a body of techniques that provides useful information to decision makers. So let's look at the one of the advanced books also. Uh, if you may
The
come.
advanced?
Yeah, there was the other book. This is the introductory books, right? So how do you get out of here and go to the advanced one?
I think we just click. I'll try multivariate data. Okay, so
Okay, all right. Okay,
just click.
okay,
And then we
okay,
click this first section. We
okay.
have this.
Representing a third variable, rotating 3D scatter plots. Very nice. Can you click on this one? Rotating the three-dimensional scatter plots. Okay.
So this is
The
our
most
activity.
sorry.
So
I think these are the
think
chapters of the one book.
Yeah, these are all
This is the
chapters of one book.
introductory book,
And this
these
is
are
that
the
same
chapters.
introductory book. Yes, this is correct. So if you, I now want to know how you can get out of here to get to that first page where it said advanced books also.
Just close from the close button.
Where is
arrows here? Can I go back to this?
Yeah, I was wanting. Yeah. I think this is right.
Just click this one about the CAST ebook.
Okay.
Right bottom, right upper
Bottom
corner.
right.
Just close. Just close
Top
this
right
book
or
and then
bottom right? Where exactly? Where are you?
top right.
Top right. It doesn't say
Right.
close.
Yes.
Close.
This one.
No.
There's
Upside.
no option for close.
This one is the arrow that goes to the next.
Okay, then go to the previous one, the one on the left. Then it will keep on bringing you outside.
No more. It's only up to here, and then I can move this arrow to the right.
Yeah. So then I don't see the close thing that you're indicating, Mr. Jawad. Where is that close?
What is this index? If you go to index, what it gives?
Okay, index is here. These are.
No, I have started this from my desktop, and that is opened as an independent software. And again, I close it and then double click the icon again and went to the.
Exit it.
Yes,
exit from this and then restart.
Oh, you mean the cross? Then you should say cross. I kept looking for the word close. You meant the cross.
Because whenever you hover you mouse on this button, the screen tab will show close. So this is close button.
Yeah,
okay, all right. Please, Enriqueta. Can you cross it? Okay. So now you have to start again.
CAST book? This is the CAST book.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is introductory ebooks, then the exercises, then advanced books.
Now I want to see the advanced one. If you may click on that one. Yes.
Advanced ebooks.
Yes.
So these are the advanced ones, and there are extra ebooklets.
Yes,
are these free? This is open source, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
Okay.
I'm sure that must be because they are also providing the license, and I'm quite sure they must be free.
Yes.
So multiple regression and generalized linear models, and then experiments in agriculture and biology, and then industrial experiments, and then statistical theory. So why don't you click on the industrial experiments?
Okay. I think it opened here. Oh, wait. Industrial experiments. Yes, it opens a new web page. Yes.
Right.
So this is the one.
Okay. Simple experiments, factorial experiments, fractional designs, and response surfaces.
Yes,
so
very
maybe
advanced.
you can go to the first chapter. Yeah,
Want
of
the
course,
simple experiments. This is it. Simple
okay.
experiments.
Structure of an experiment before you start, randomization, blocks. For the statistics people, it's not so difficult, but obviously for other disciplines, it may be a bit difficult. How does storage temperature affect the texture of ice cream? Does the firing temperature affect the density or hardness of a certain type of brick, etc.? So it is beyond the time that I had thought we would use. So now should we go to the next item of for today? We have some idea about Moodle and some idea about this. So we can maybe, ladies and gentlemen, if you allow, we can go to the next item now. So that was looking at it. Let's just cross this thing. Click on that cross. It will close then.
Will I stop sharing now? Okay.
Yeah, you can stop sharing also.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. So we can try to look at the book R for Data Science, which is very important for this workshop, I think. So if you look here, they also have R in stat, and is this is it?
This
The
is
book that they
This-
keep referring to.
Yeah, this is a book, but
Open
you can't
book.
download it. This is the problem. You have to click it here on the link, then it will open.
This click.
This one.
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
This yes. Sure. And it does not download. Is that so?
Now you can read it, but you can't download it.
Okay, I can share with the people that when I was selected as the educational ambassador for Pakistan of the American Statistical Association, it was my responsibility to teach in my own country somebody needs to mute their mic, please. There's noise in the background. Okay, thank you. So, I taught Tidyverse, and this book is connected with Tidyverse also. And Garrett Groliman, this name that you see here, this is the gentleman who taught at the American Statistical Association conference. So I attended that, and then I taught in my own country the same thing. So this book, that is the software that they have produced, which is called Tidyverse. And this is connected with it. So anyway, let me just read a bit for the benefit of everybody who's here. This is the website for R for Data Science. This book will teach you how to do data science with R. You learn how to get your data into R, how to get it into the most useful structure. And Dr. Sharka Hashmi, who's right here, she was, of course, with me, and she was, in fact, the one who was guiding me also. I have learned so much from her, and we together, in fact, did this, the teaching in our own country. Okay, now, so it says you learn how to get your data into R, you get it into the most useful structure, how to transform it, how to visualize it, and how to model it. Actually, ladies and gentlemen, these things, I think these are what is called data science. I mean, these are some of the fundamental things that you do in this thing called data science. So in this book, you will find a practicum of skills for data science. See, it says it right here. Just as a chemist learns how to clean test tubes and stock a lab, you learn how to clean data and draw plots and many other things besides. These are the skills that allow data science to happen. See, it's not, I mean, it's not something out of this world. It's very much our own world. Some certain skills that we need now with this big data, the huge sets of data which are accumulating on the internet by the minute. And here you will find the best practices for doing each of these things with R. you learn how to use the grammar of graphics. This is a very important term that they are using, the grammar of graphics. And in fact, Hadley Wickham, I think David Stern and Roger, I think they hold him in really in high regard, because Hadley Wickham, I think, is the person who has introduced this concept, and also all Tidyverse, this set of computer packages. Okay, anyway, you learn how to use the grammar of graphics, literate programming, and reproducible research to save time. You'll also learn how to manage cognitive resources to facilitate discoveries when wrangling, visualizing, and exploring data. So this is interesting for anybody who is in the area of education. Enriqueta, your basic area is mathematics education, is that right? And Baliga,
Mathematics education.
You're right. And Baliga is also in very much in education.
In
So
education,
I have a little bit of idea that you people would be appreciating this word here. Anyway, this website is and will always be free to use, and it is licensed under the Creative Commons. If you'd like a physical copy of the book, then you can order it. If you'd like to give back, please make a donation, etc. Okay, anyway, after that, let's proceed further. Okay, introduction. Data science is an exciting discipline that allows you to turn raw data into understanding, insight, and knowledge. The goal of R for data science is to help you learn the most important tools in R that will allow you to do data science. After reading this book, you'll have the tools to tackle a wide variety of data science challenges. So they're claiming that, you know, it's a wide variety of data science challenges that you will be able to tackle using the best parts of R. What you will learn, data science is a huge field and there's no way you can master it by reading a single book. The goal of this book is to give you a solid foundation in the most important tools. Our model of the tools needed in a typical data science project looks something like this. This is what Dr. Sharka and I were teaching them in our, when we were teaching. You import data into your R, then you tidy it. This is a technical term. Tidying data is a technical term. It has a certain meaning, which I'm sure that Roger and David will be sharing with you. And then you would transform data. Now, what does it mean? You know, you can, for example, how do I explain it? Dr. Sharka, can you help me? Again, I'm looking at you for helping. Give one example of the transforming of data. There were so many things we did.
Can I say something? Can I say something, madam?
Yes, please.
It's a transform doesn't mean that you are transforming the scale always. One way is to transform the data in different scales, maybe log or other scales. The other is transform data means whatever you see in the data, just bring it out from the data and transform the whole concept of data which you have, that you visualize what it contains and how you model, how you analyze it, how you reshape it to present the results. That's all within the transformation, I think. It's not just transformation of the scale.
It's absolutely right. That is absolutely correct. Dr. Sharka, I want you to say something here now. Please. Dr. Sharka? I don't know. Maybe she's not here right now. Okay, so thank you very much, Dr. Work. And we'll talk about it more later, but you're right. It's not the transformation of the scale. Then, of course, it can be that also, but it is more than that. And after this visualizing, that's again, those most beautiful and exciting graphs that you get, and also then the modeling, then this is the cycle that, you know, runs, and then finally you communicate whatever you get out of all that work that you do. Let me proceed a little. It's written here also. First, you must import your data into R. This typically means that you take data stored in a file or in a database or in a web application programming interface and load it into a data frame in R. If you can't get your data into R, you can't do data science on it. Obviously, you can't get your data in it. And how do you do data science? So once you've imported your data, it's a good idea to tidy it. As I was saying, it's a technical concept. I myself did not get it very quickly. You know, it took me a little bit of time to understand what exactly they mean by this word. Tidying your data means storing it in a consistent form that matches the semantics of the data set with the way it is stored. I'll let Roger and David talk about it, which will be, I think, very good. In brief, when your data is tidy, each column, this is it actually, each column is a variable and each row is an observation. If you put it very, very simply, this is it. Every variable occurs in a column and every case occurs in a row. So it's as simple as that. Tidy data is important because the consistent structure lets you focus your struggle on the questions about the data, not fighting to get the data into the right form for different functions. If you put it in this tidy format, you know, then life becomes easy. That's what they're trying to say. And now, Dr. Work, let's see what they have to say about this word transform. Once you have tidy data.
Just a minute. Can I say something?
Yes.
You said import data. No, they are just making one thing, that you are importing data from a file which you have created or a folder, maybe in Excel or in other programs. But last time when I asked David that your R program doesn't give me any option for copy and paste. Why I said was that in small data sets, which we are familiar with, the experimental data or field experimental data trials, which we do, maybe in medicine or in agriculture, field trials. I'm familiar with the field trials, but the data size is not as big as you have in the import files, you know, as the climate data. We don't have such big data. So if it's a designed experiment with certain factors, certain treatments, it's a few numbers which you are playing with it, then it's very, very convenient to copy it from the Excel file and paste it in our program, but there is no option for that. Here, import, they are assuming that you are always importing by opening the file, wherever you have put it in your folder in the Excel, and then it opens on its own when you open it, open file in the R option. So this is another thing which I just want to bring it out. If you have a small set data, it's always convenient to copy and paste, because usually on the Excel sheet, you have already done some of the other exercises. For example, I tend to use pivot tables, summarize the data, do some basic graphs, or do some other calculation which I don't want to open in the R program. But when you open the sheet in the R program, everything comes out. Then it's not in the right form. Then you have to tidy it and do all those things. So this is one thing I want to bring it out. The other is tidying is okay. Transform, yes, you can continue with the transform now. Thank you.
Regarding this copy paste thing, I obviously I'm not an expert in this. David and Roger can tell you more about it, but I and Sharka, when we were teaching the tidyverse, we were teaching them how to import data from Excel or from SPSS. You can import data into R. So if you are saying that it's convenient to copy paste, of course it must be, but I mean, what's the harm in just importing it, even if it is a very small set of data?
No, no.
instead
What I'm
import it.
saying, no, what I'm
Yeah.
saying, usually when I'm doing calculations in Excel,
Yes.
I don't have a
Yes.
clean sheet with the data. You know, there are so many other things done on the sheet. And when you open it in R, then everything shows there. Then you can't do the calculations in R because it doesn't adapt to that format of the data. So it becomes inconvenient. I
So
find,
we have Mr. Jawad here, who's an expert in Excel. Mr. Jawad, can you respond to this one? Jawad also gave us some
Yes,
works. One
yes.
moment, Jawad.
In our previous workshop, Mr. Wilk has raised this point that our instat software that we will learn in our next meeting, next lecture, our instat doesn't have the capability, as per Mr. Wilk, it has the capability of copying the data in that from Excel file. So Dr. Rogerson has told that they will work on their software and it will be improved. I think this was in that meeting. Currently, I am not checked it whether the data is can be copied or not, but Mr. Wicks has an experience that as the simple copy from the Excel file and paste it in the R instat worksheet.
yeah,
But
Yes.
that's the thing, because if you see SPSS or you use Minitab or any statistical package, there is always an option for copy and paste.
Yes, yes,
But R
yes.
doesn't have this capability at the moment. And yes, I
At the moment.
remember David, and they were saying that they are thinking to improve it and have this option in the future. That's what he told.
And that will make it more handy for small
Yes.
data sets.
Yes, yes.
no,
Okay,
but
thank you very much.
Mr. Jawad, mashallah, you're an expert. You gave us such a good workshop just a few weeks ago. So what is the
Yes.
problem? I mean, why can't you just import it? I mean, you agree with Dr. Work that it's
Yes, yes, I agree. I agree with him because it makes more
I-
handy because doing Control C and going to the R instat window, just press Control V instead of choosing some option for the import and then selecting some file in some folder and then selecting that file
Okay.
fields or variables of that file
Okay.
and importing. I think
Okay.
this will be more handy. And
Okay.
sometimes we paste data from Excel to Google Sheet or from Google Sheet to from Excel or Excel to SPSS or SPSS to Excel. Thank you.
Okay. I think you're. It's
No,
okay.
madam, it's very convenient because I have been
Convenient.
using it and I find it very easy because
Well, of course,
I have
I
been
also
using.
copy. I do that. I copy from Excel to Word, at least,
Yeah,
if not
Yeah,
yes,
anything
yes,
else.
yes. Yeah, it's same thing.
But I
If you
just
can
thought
open
that,
the, yeah,
yeah.
if R can give us a sheet, open a blank sheet, then you can just
Okay.
paste it there. It's very
Okay.
convenient because even in the
Right.
Minitab, even in GenStat, which is a very powerful program, SAS program, there is option. But I never bother importing it, but I found it very inconvenient to import, so many steps to do it. And
you
if
want
you
to
just if you
you
just
want to
copy and
eliminate
paste, then it's
the
easy.
bureaucratic style of R instat.
Yeah. Yes, you are right.
Okay, let's proceed now. Thank you very much for that. So as Jawad Sahib has said, David has communicated to him, I think that, or Roger, or maybe they
Roger,
did it
yes,
during the
Roger.
workshop. They said that they will work on it. Okay.
Mm.
So now let's proceed. This transform thing, let's please have a look at this. And you know, there are so many people in this virtual room who are not familiar with these things, I think. So it's good to read these because obviously Roger and David will also be talking about these. So it's good that we'll have some idea. Once you have tidy data, a common first step is to transform it. Transformation includes narrowing in on observations of interest, like all people in one city, or all data from the last year, uh, or creating new variables that are functions of the existing variables. As I read these things now, all those things are coming back to me, which I was also teaching when we were doing that. So like computing speed from distance and time. Of course, we did this. Jawad Saib was also one of the students in that course. And now
Yes.
Zulekha has joined us. I just saw her icon. Miss Zulekha is a lecturer at Manhaj University. She was also with me and Dr. Sharka, and Kamal was also there. So we were all together in this. And calculating a set of summary statistics. Yes, these were the things we were doing. So when they say transform, all these things are included under this word. If you're, if you're calculating some summary statistics, or if you are creating a new variable, like this good example that, we have a variable of a column of distances and another column of the time it took to travel those distances. So we have a program, I mean, it's a very easy code that we can write in order to get a column of speed. So see similar things that are written here. And what is this they are saying here now? Together, tidying and transforming are called wrangling. Okay, data wrangling, they're defining that tidying and transforming together, this is called data wrangling. Because getting your data in a form that's natural to work with often feels like a fight. They are trying to justify why this term was coined. Whoever coined it, he felt that it was like a fight. So that's why they called it data wrangling. Once you have tidy data with the variables you need, there are two main engines of knowledge generation. See, this is, I think, a good sentence. Two main engines of knowledge generation: visualization and modeling. Please, the people who are not speaking, I would like to request you to unmute your mics and also to cut me. You can just ask me to stop and give your input. It should not be just 2 or 3 persons. Please.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Please have compliment. Yes, please do. If you have a question, you can just stop me. These have complementary strengths and weaknesses, which to visualization and modeling. They have strengths and weaknesses. So any real analysis will iterate or iterate between them many times. See what an important statement it is. Only when we get to do it ourselves, we will understand it better. So I'm looking forward to the upcoming one. I think they're going to enable us to, first, I think they will demonstrate, I suppose. They're going to do the visualization thing next time, all these graphs that you can make. And then I suppose first they will demonstrate and then they will ask us to do it ourselves. Visualization is a fundamentally human activity. A good visualization will show you things that you did not expect or raise new questions about the data. A good visualization might also hint that you're asking the wrong question, or you need to collect different data. Visualizations can surprise you, but don't scale particularly well because they require a human to interpret them. Interesting. Models. Models are complementary tools to visualization. Once you have made your questions sufficiently precise, you can use a model to answer them. Models are a fundamentally mathematical or computational tool. So they generally scale well. Even when they don't, it's usually cheaper to buy more computers than it is to buy more brains. Interesting. What are they trying to say here? Even if they don't scale well, it is cheaper to buy more computers than it is to buy more brains. But every model makes assumptions. That's the main point. Always, we all know, it's all the stats people know that all these assumptions that we make. And by its very nature, a model cannot question its own assumptions. Aha, You see, because it is based on those assumptions. So how can it question those assumptions? That means a model cannot fundamentally surprise you. Okay, those graphs can surprise you, visualizations can surprise you, but models cannot surprise you. The last step of data science is communication, an absolutely critical part of any data analysis project. It doesn't matter how well your models and visualization have led you to understand the data, unless you can also communicate it to others. So it's not enough to just learn it for yourself. Surrounding all these tools is programming. Programming is a cross-cutting tool that you use in every part of the project. You don't need to be an expert programmer to be a data scientist, but learning more about programming pays off, because becoming a better programmer allows you to automate common tasks and solve new problems with greater ease. So they're saying that it's not absolutely necessary to be an expert programmer in order to be a data scientist, but obviously it pays off if you learn some amount of programming. You'll use these tools in every data science project, but for most projects, they're not enough, okay? very happily surprised. So anyway, RInStat Introductory Tutorial 1. Tutorial 1 does not use climatic data, but an example data set called diamonds. If you want to get straight into climatic data, go to tutorial 2, but we think there are useful things to learn here, even if your interest is climatic. Roger himself is, I think, very, very, very deeply interested in climate data. So that's why he's assuming that all of us are, that all of us are interested in this one.